He hasn't had the brightest couple of days after their kids were diagnosed with cancer, but they're learning a fresh coat of paint and supportive community can make even the darkest days a bit brighter. It's Tuesday, February 27th. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joe Sam. First at 4, there's more help available tonight for people who were affected by the flooding in Lansing. The city will be holding 3 meetings this week to pass along information about flood insurance and protecting homes from future floods. Both sides say they'll be willing to bend, but just how far? Welcome back. The Michigan State Spartans have advanced to the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. They beat Wisconsin this afternoon by a score of 63-60, so congratulations to them. MSU was led by 20 points from Miles Bridges and 17 from Cassius Winston. They'll take on the winner of the Michigan-Nebraska game tomorrow at 2 p.m. News 10's Zach Burridge is covering the Spartans for us in New York. We'll hear from him and the team coming up on News 10 at 5. Now, while we're on the topic of batteries, take a look at this crazy video here. You can see the back completely taken over by flames. Now, it was caused by lithium batteries. Just minutes before the China Southern plane took off, everyone was evacuated to safety while the fire was put out. The FAA is now highlighting the hazards of lithium-ion batteries on planes. It's trending at this hour. Michigan State University Council is meeting right now. It's trying to decide the next step following the Faculty Senate vote of no confidence in the Board of Trustees. I think this forecast is going to get people a little tear in their eye, especially after what we've been getting for the past couple of days. You know, can't wait for that. That's a big game a lot of people are waiting for.
Another great thing to do on a Saturday.
Exactly, with all that great weather.
The hour.
All right, thanks, Ann, for that, and happy Monday, by the way.
Happy Monday to you.
We're back at it, you guys, and we're also going to be back talking about that weather when we return. Could we be putting an end to the snow for good? All right, thanks, Andy. Take a look at this here. Hundreds of students walked out of their high school in New Jersey today to support a teacher who raised concerns about their safety. The advanced placement history teacher at Cherry High School, they're going to have to do it because they're having an absolutely great time with the snow. You can see here having a snowball fight. Yeah. You have to love it. I mean, enjoy it whenever it does come.
I'll go over and teach them how to build one.
There we go. Well, of course, you guys, something that we do not want in our meals is food poisoning. Not something that you want to serve to your families either, but thanks to the good technology that we have, and David Andrews with good information on how health officials around the country are using social media to home in on health hazards. The breaking story we've been tracking for you all day. The shooting at Central Michigan University. The campus is reopening after a student shot and killed his parents this morning. The students are being ushered off campus with help from police, and a suspect has not yet been found. The sun was not shy at all today. It came out earlier than expected. Well, several companies like Hertz and Best Western have cut its ties with the National Rifle Association over its response. Yeah, we do not want that poisoning in our foods when we are there. Very sick time for people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good information, David. Right. Thanks for all of those tips. Yes. You guys, we have some new information for you as well. Of course, gender-affirming surgeries are on the rise. Here's a picture of him, James Eric Davis Jr. He's a sophomore at CMU. He's 5'10", 135 pounds. He was last seen wearing mustard yellow jeans and a blue hoodie. He is still on the loose, and police are urging students to shelter in place because he could be armed and dangerous. Well, that's amazing. You know, everybody deserves a nice home to go to. One of the companies refusing to cut ties is FedEx. The company says it disagrees with the NRA and believes weapons like the AR-15 should not be owned by civilians. We'll tell you how FedEx based its decision to stick with the NRA, and your body shape could impact your health more than previously thought as well. That's according to a new British study. Out of nearly 500,000 adults, it find having an apple shape or apple bottom with more fat around the waist and hips increased the risk of a heart attack more than being obese. Police say this started from a domestic situation, and Davis was in the hospital Thursday night for a drug-related incident, which they believe he actually overdosed on. He was released sometime this morning. Police at CMU are holding a press conference right now to update us on the investigation. Let's listen in. Following a 10-day break, members of Congress are returning to work under hefty pressure to respond to the outcry over gun violence. And veterans are urging lawmakers to protect prevailing wage so that high-skilled, high-demand jobs are more available to them. The group of vets with the state trade union spoke in Lansing today. It has a lot of our people talking on Facebook and social media. As we mentioned earlier, Dick's Sporting Goods made a big announcement today. The retailer will stop selling assault-style rifles and will no longer sell high-capacity magazines. You don't want to end up like this guy right here. None of us want to end up like that. And researchers are developing a pill that can actually shrink body mass. It's Wednesday. last day of February. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Sam. We began this afternoon with people from all over Michigan that gathered in front of the Capitol steps to tell lawmakers it's time for change when it comes to gun safety in Michigan. And see that now is flying off the shelves. Well, that was Haley Hernandez reporting many patients do not qualify for life-saving operations like a transplant until they can get to a healthier size. Now, those are the patients these researchers have in mind for the drug. Still to come on First at 4, we're heading to one town where one family received a miracle makeover to help them through a tough situation. But first, a look at today's closing numbers on Wall Street. We're following a developing story out of a Dalton High School about 90 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. Dalton police say a social studies teacher who fired a gun inside a classroom and then had a half-an-hour standoff with police is in custody. Happy Monday, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm Joe Sam. We begin this afternoon with the opening of a new Title IX investigation into how Michigan State University handled Larry Nassar's sexual assault cases. Students returned to class in Florida this morning after a mass shooting left 17 people dead 2 weeks ago today. This day has been fraught with so much anticipation and anxiety as it left not only a community, but a nation grieving another shooting. NBC's Wendy Woolfolk has more. Well, now let's take a look at some of the big stories trending this afternoon. Kicking off the list is the full recovery of a student who was injured in the shooting at a Florida high school. Thanks, Wendy, for that. And finally, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort has pleaded not guilty to a rewritten set of charges in the Russia 2016 election meddling. The charges include money laundering, conspiracy, and making false statements. His not guilty plea comes after Rick Gates pleaded guilty last week to reduce charges in exchange for cooperating with prosecutors. Also trending, 4 people are dead after an explosion destroyed a convenience store and home in Britain. You can see here in this aerial footage smoke rising from the ruin in Leicester. The ground floor shop and 2-story apartment above it left in absolute rubble. A case closed. The Lansing woman will serve 5 to 20 years in prison for running a sex trafficking ring involving minors. Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuett announced today that Amber Speed was sentenced in Ingham County Circuit Court. Police say Speed trafficked minors multiple times from 2009. And cleanup is underway after 2 tornadoes touched down near Nashville. The Twin Twisters struck Saturday night with winds reaching 120 miles per hour, leveling at least one home in Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, self-driving pizza delivery cars are hitting the road. In the coming weeks, customers in Ann Arbor will have their option to have their Domino's pizza delivered by a Ford Fusion autonomous research vehicles. Customers will be able to track their order through the Domino's app. All right, thanks, Sandy. Speaking of the weather, with so many people in mid-Michigan cleaning up from last week's flooding, this is the time to look out for scam artists. Now, they may present themselves as contractors able to fix or repair at home, but they're really unlicensed and uninsured. Well, on this date in 1993, terrorists set off a bomb in the basement of the World Trade Center in New York City. And finally, the newest Samsung smartphone is taking on Apple's iPhone X with new features. Samsung revealed the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Now, the phone has an upgraded camera, augmented reality emojis, and face unlock, all for a few $100s less than the iPhone X. Hey, it's 2018, and that's what it means, new year with new technology, and that's what has you guys going crazy on social media. We told you about this earlier in the show, about Samsung's release of its new phone design and features. Now, Lindsay Leahy says definitely look for a good camera, also long battery life, and fairly indestructible, as I am pretty clumsy, and I can agree with you there, I am as well.